there, and welcome to Lyss Listens, the place where real questions meet real talk, straight from the heart. I'm Alyssa, your go-to voice for soulful advice, mindset magic, and unapologetic truth. Every week, I dive into anonymous submissions from women like you navigating life, love, business, motherhood, healing, and everything in between. Nothing is off limits, and everything is met with compassion, intuition, and a whole lot of wisdom. So whether you're here for guidance, curiosity, or a little permission to feel what you feel, you're in the right place. Let's get into today's questions and see what's ready to be revealed. Welcome back to another episode of Lyss Listens. Hello. I'm so glad that you are here and tuning in today. We got hit with probably one of my most favorite questions this week, if I'm being totally honest. So, anonymous submitter, gracias. I really appreciate it. The question is, I am completely riddled with imposter syndrome. Who hasn't been there, if I'm being totally honest? And they want to know, how can I overcome it? Oof, such a great freaking question. The number one thing that I always start with when I get asked this question is, who are you comparing yourself to? Because imposter syndrome does not exist without comparison. There's no way that you feel like an imposter if you weren't comparing yourself to others. And I want you to look at something here. And I talk about this so often on my podcast. So if you've been a fan of my podcast and have listened to it since the beginning, you've heard me say this before. We're going to say it again here on Lyss Listens, is think of the person who started and created the internet. What a wild, wild idea, right? The internet is such a crazy concept to me. I still cannot wrap my head around it. And if I think about the person who decided to bring the internet to life, do you think they were sitting there comparing themselves to other people? No. They had this idea, the magic found them, and they created it and brought it to life. And they could have compared themselves to others, like, who the hell do I think I am creating the internet when no one's ever done this before? Or who the hell do I think I am when I'm not as good as the inventor of electricity or whatever? I should probably know these people's fucking names if I talk about them. But the point here is imposter syndrome does not exist without comparison. And if you let imposter syndrome win, then you've lost. Because you and imposter syndrome, you cannot be together, existing together. Both of those energies of you living your true, authentic self and imposter syndrome cannot live in the same space. So, whenever we're talking about overcoming it, the first thing I want you to do is learn how to identify it and where does it come from? Because everything that stands in our way from us and living our most juiciest vision board desire manifestations out loud, there's always a root to what is keeping us kind of in the way. There's always something standing there. We don't just have these things for no reason. So if we're looking at imposter syndrome, the first thing I want you to do is look at the root. Where does this come from? Number one, who am I comparing myself to? And if you are like I was just a very short while ago, I was comparing myself to everyone in my industry because of everyone that I had followed on social media. My entire algorithm was full of others just like me. And so what am I going to do other than scroll and compare? So if you are active on social media, clean up who it is that you are seeing every day. And I've been having this conversation a lot with my clients specifically. I had one of my clients come to me last week and she was like, I think I'm going to get off of Instagram. And I'm like, you go, boo, but why? Why do you want to get off? And she was like, all of my feed is just full of people trying to sell me things that I'm also trying to sell and it feels overwhelming. Duh, 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 duh. Let's say that you are a real estate agent, okay? That is a field where I feel like a lot of people exist in, right? Like I feel like there's a ton of real estate agents in the world because it's a very high demand industry. But I only personally know someone who's in my actual life, not like friends on the internet, who's a realtor. And I know a lot of people, and I'm not saying that as like a flex, but it is a flex because I am a very social butterfly. So I have a lot of communications with people. I have a lot of connections with people, and I only know one realtor in real life. And there's tons. But the reason you might think that your market is oversaturated or you can't possibly stand out is because you're consuming the lives and the content of other people who are doing the same fucking thing as you. There is no reason for you to be consuming content of others who are selling the same thing as you, who are promoting the same thing as you, who are trying to create the same thing as you. But people also want to say, well, I'm doing it for inspiration. Are you though? Because it really sounds like you're trying to keep up with whatever the fuck they're doing, right? There are plenty of people who are manifestation mentors, mindset mentors, who have great success in what they're doing. But I simply cannot compare myself to them because I am so much different. Me and whoever else is doing the same thing as I am, we could look the same, we could be teaching the exact same thing, but our message and delivery is going to be vastly different because my energy can't be replicated and neither can that other person's. Your energy cannot be replicated, and that is something that you have got to solidify yourself in. There is no one else like you. And yeah, it's cool to like find other people that you can relate with and find a little bit of yourself in them. But at the end of the day, there is no one who is like you. And the longer that you sit here and try to become like the other people in your industry who are doing really great things, the longer you're going to dim your light because the thing that makes you stand out is the thing that you are continuing to diminish by trying to keep up with what everyone else is fucking doing. In tune, making you feel like an imposter. Clean up your environment is my number one suggestion here. And I'm talking about your digital environment, your physical environment, your internal environment. We've got to clean all of it up. We have to riddle ourselves of the imposter syndrome because that imposter syndrome is the reason you cannot get to that next step that you desire to get to. You know how many doctors there are in the world? And you know, and we live in a society that doctors and lawyers are like the top dogs, right? If you want to subscribe to that belief, that's what we're told at least. And I'm sure that they have imposter syndrome too, but that doesn't keep them from being doctors and lawyers, right? They still have a confidence in themselves and in their ability to do great things that keep that imposter syndrome at bay. So, in order to cure ourselves of imposter syndrome, we've got to start taking a lot of shots of confidence. And I'm talking the good shots, okay? Let's pull them up, throw them back. Give me a little lime and salt to chase it because I am so serious that confidence, if when you build your confidence, you can't hear that imposter syndrome voice anymore because your confidence is so fucking loud. And a lot of times I find with my clients that come to me specifically with imposter syndrome, riddled with it, they're always afraid of confidence. It's almost like confidence is the big scary, oh my God, if I'm too confident, then I'm going to make someone else feel smaller. Or if I'm too confident or too successful, then I'm going to hurt others' feelings. I'm going to step on someone's toes, or I'm going to make my partner feel less than. Fuck that. Fuck all of that. Because when you step into your actual full-bodied, bloody confidence, you start to become absolutely magnetic because you start showing up for yourself the way that your highest self would. You start doing what you say you're going to do. You don't just say, okay, today I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and then hit snooze 15 fucking times. You start keeping your word to yourself. And guess what? The universe notices that. The universe is like, this bitch means business because she knows that she's worthy, she knows that she's capable, and she's keeping her word to herself, which is like confidence 101. You cannot be a confident bitch if you can't even do what you say you're going to do for yourself. Let's be totally for real right now. And the more confident you become, the less imposter syndrome you have. And there's nothing wrong with you for having imposter syndrome. Absolutely nothing wrong. Anytime that I am on the internet for too long, like in a day, I start to have that feeling sneak up on me too. But what's interesting though is whenever I go to like networking events where I'm around a magnitude of different people in real life, I don't get the imposter syndrome. I'm like excited to get to speak to another person in real life instead of just seeing a curated fucking feed. Because that's all it is at the end of the day. And I truly do not believe that imposter syndrome would exist so heavily if number one, we didn't live in a society that told us how we should be creating success. And the second you decide that that's not your truth and that's not in alignment for you and you do something different, it's like you get shamed for trying to be different, right? Or trying to listen to your actual intuitive thoughts and your own original ideas and opinions. But we also are bombarded with shit all day long, being a generation that lives on our phones, living life through the lens of others and for others, is going to create even more of an imposter syndrome sickness in us. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you at all. If you desire to become the most confident, baddest bitch that you know, that anyone knows, when someone says, hey, to your friend or, I don't know, someone that you know, associate, and they're like, hey, who's the confident person you know? And you want to be the person that they first initially think of, let me just tell you that you have got to get inside of my world, because building confidence is something that is such a crucial key component when you are becoming a master manifester, when you are deciding that you are actually worthy and deserving of the life and the things that it is you desire. There's an energy about you that does shift, and that energy becomes absolutely magnetic. And that's the whole fucking point. But you cannot become the most confident bitch in the room and in your little world, or big world, or medium world, while you're letting imposter syndrome take up fucking rental space. What are we actually doing here? What are we actually doing here? There's no, we can't have both. We can't do both. And inside of my magnetic movement membership, I have an entire vault that's dedicated to building confidence and riddling imposter syndrome. For only $111 a month, you too can dive into this vault and start getting all of the things I've ever taught, talked about, teached. Teach is the same thing as taught. Done classes on, had conversations about, build resources around that can allow you to truly step out of imposter syndrome. But the first thing is first, you've got to clean up your environment. And that's the way that you're going to start seeing imposter syndrome in the rearview mirror. And I will see you next time. I'll be listening.